Oh, there we go.
Got it.
Okay, so the meeting is being recorded, everyone, and we'll put the recording up on the JaxNOW YouTube channel and, of course, publicize the link in the newsletter as well as on our website. We're going to mute everyone, so the speaker has our undivided attention and there are no distractions. We would ask you to introduce yourself and the organization that you're associated with in the chat box. And also, as Cierra goes through and presents the information to us, if you have any questions that come to mind or comments, please put those in the chat box. After her comments, we will, open it up. We won't be so formal to, we'll also let you ask in person, but any questions before we get started? Stop my share. Okay. We are really fortunate today to have the presenter from the Supervisor of Elections Office, Cierra Fackler. Cierra is the director of candidates. Let's see, I'll get her title right here. Candidate and Records Director. So she was commenting to us that somebody called her a guru today, and I think that's an apt description, having dealt with her before, to get information about the petitions, quite honestly. And so she is going to tell us everything we need to know about being a third-party voter registration organization. And we all know that the legislature in a number of sessions actually tightened up the rules governing voter registration by third parties. And so again, it's an important role for us and we want to make sure we're doing things right. So I'll turn it over to you, Cierra, if you want to share.
Thank you. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I'm Cierra. I'm with the Supervisor of Elections Office, and I'm very grateful to be going over what a third party is and what your role is as members of your third party. So I will go ahead and get started. I will be putting my contact information in your group chat. So if anybody has any questions or something that I might not have touched on and you have questions later on, you're always welcome to email me, call me, whatever is needed for you guys to succeed as a third party. We're here to help you. So we will go ahead and get started. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Yes. So this is just going to be one of the most recent rules that was put out by the Division of Elections in regards to third-party voter registration organizations. This was brought out to us in September. So this is the most recent ruling that they've sent us. So this is what we follow. This is going to kind of state what a third party is. So basically, you're an affiliate organization of a third party, which means any person defined as a Florida statute that is associated with the third party as a subordinate, subsidiary, member, branch, chapter, as a central or parent organization, or through direct or indirect ownership or control. So basically what this is stating is you guys are basically going, you're the, or not controller, I'm trying to make sure I say this correctly. You guys are responsible for different citizens and their voter registration organization or voter applications. So if I went up to you guys and said I wanted to register to vote, you're in control of my voter registration and you are the one who is responsible and making sure it gets to my office. Because then what'll happen is once we get them, we stamp them in, and then we create the voter registration in regards to what's on the application, whether it be a new application or somebody's updating their information. So collecting or handling, which means physically exercising custody over voter registration applications containing a voter's personal information. This does not include distributing blank voter registration applications. Some third parties like to have blank voter registrations on file to hand out to voters. If they don't want to fill it out right then and there, giving them a blank voter registration application, I highly recommend, just so it takes that liability off of you guys as a third party if it's turned in late and you don't accrue any fines. So that is always something we welcome. You're always welcome to get both applications from our office with your third party number and blank ones, just to kind of give you that option of, if a voter's like, I really don't feel comfortable giving you my application with my date of birth or my driver's license, you're always welcome to say you can do it online, or you have a blank voter application they can take and mail back to us. Whatever's easiest for the voter is the way I recommend. So when you guys are collecting voter applications, this is what the new voter registration application looks like. This is from the Division of Elections. This one came out about a month ago, so it's extremely new. I really like it. I think it's very beneficial, as I was stating to Ms. Kim and Ms. Carol. I think it's beneficial for the voter, third parties, as well as our office. It provides more room for everybody. So when, if I expand it, can you guys still see this pretty well?
Yep.
Okay. So on the voter application, it gives the ability for someone to register utilizing the QR code. I think this is really great. A lot of people use QR codes when COVID was around. I mean, you couldn't get a menu anywhere without a QR code. So that's always an option if somebody doesn't write very well, or if they're just like, no, I don't want to fill anything out on paper, but they're like, I still want to register. This takes you directly to floridavote.gov. And when they fill their information out, it automatically gets sent to us, as well as the Division of Elections at the state level. So they will automatically get pulled right into the voter system. It also gives you some additional information, such as the voter registration requirements. For someone to register in Florida as a voter, they have to be a U.S. citizen and a resident of Florida and a county. So you still may get people who register to vote with you who live in Miami, who may be visiting. They may say, oh yeah, I live in Miami, but I need to update my address in Miami. Can you do it? Absolutely. Anybody can register. It does not have to be somebody in Duval County. I'm not sure, did Ms. Carol, is your third party registered for all of Florida? Do you know?
I don't know. Judy, I don't know if you're on. Judy Shecklin, if you could answer that.
I
think
am
Bobby
on.
might know.
Yeah, Bobby had completed the application, so
Hi.
she.
No, we don't have the whole state.
Okay.
We just have the northeast Florida counties.
Okay, so you might get somebody in Clay County then. That's completely fine.
Thanks,
and then, so yeah, anybody can register. It's up to you how you'd like to proceed that route. If it's somebody from like a different county, you can give them a blank application. They can just mail it to the county that they live in. They have to be at least 18 years old. If they are 16, they're more than welcome to pre-register to vote. So they can still fill the application out. They just won't be able to vote until they turn 18. Right. The next one is they can't be adjudicated mentally incapacitated, or if so, their voting rights are restored. They cannot be convicted of a felony, or if so, voting rights are restored. So basically, when we get this, if the system will kick back to us, letting us know if somebody is a felon, and then we'll just take care of it from there. But they do have to fill out these this section 1, 2, and 3 for this to be a completed voter application.
Can I ask a question real quick? So if they do fill out the application and they're not eligible, then does the Supervisor of Elections contact them to tell them that they're not eligible and what they need to do?
Yep. So we send out packets to people who are ineligible that kick back from the state, stating like they have a felony. And then we send them all the paperwork that they need to get their rights restored, what they owe and restitution, everything like that. And then they don't send anything back to us. It goes directly to the state.
Okay, thank you very much.
So, and then when to register. So the deadline to register is 29 days before an election. The deadline to change a party is 29 days before an election as well. So the primary election. The deadline for you guys to turn in any applications to us for someone to be able to vote in the election is July 22nd. So I'll give everybody a second to write that date down. It's a very important date. That's our book closing deadline. Once that date hits, we can't change anything. If people change addresses and stuff like that, it won't affect them in the election. All right. So for registration status, if an application is accepted, we'll mail a voter a card. If the application is incomplete or denied, we will let them know, like, hey, we need a driver's license. We need XYZ information to complete your voter application. So that's why it's really important that the information is correct and accurate on the application, because we'll mail it in regards to whatever's on the address, letting them know we've received an application, but it's not complete due to XYZ. All right. So rows 1 through 6 and 15 must be completed for an application to be processed. So I just basically say all the black boxes need to be filled out. And then they'll put, if it's a new registration, they're updating or changing, or they're just requesting to get a voter registration card, that's completely fine. Are you a citizen of the United States? They affirm that they're not a convicted felon, and they have not been adjudicated mentally incapacitated. They do have to have a date of birth, a Florida driver's license or identification number, and the last 4 of their social on there, because that does go on. That's very important, especially if anybody ever registers to get vote by mail. They have to have that information to be able to register to vote by mail, especially if they're requesting for somebody else. Last name, first name, middle name, the residential address where they currently live, no PO box or business address. If they want to add a mailing address, that's completely fine. If they want to fill these boxes out, that's fine. Gender, completely up to the voter to put on there. They don't have to. A phone number and an email address. You can always let voters know that that information is public. So if they choose to go that route and add that on their voter application, if somebody requests a voter roll, that information will be provided to whoever's requesting the voter roll. Party affiliation. If they do not pick anything, they automatically go no party affiliation. A lot of people get they just don't know, which is completely fine. We'll send them something stating they're going no party affiliation. It's not your duty to let somebody know how to register. If they have questions, they can always go to the Division of Elections website to learn more about the different parties and what to choose. All right. There's an option for race and ethnicity, military and overseas. They can say if they're in active duty, they're a spouse or dependent, or they reside outside the U.S. If they will need help voting at a poll, they're always welcome to check this as well, or if they want to become a poll worker or an election worker. This helps us with staffing our polls at the election. It's a lot of people who fill a lot of great jobs during the election, and we always need more poll workers. 15 is going to be the oath that they're swearing to. They'll sign it and they'll date it. Your third party number will be here. You can get them from our office or the Division of Elections. It's going to be preference to you guys. If you do want to go through our office, we just recommend at least 24-hour notice so we can get them printed and ready for you. So when somebody signs this and they date it, you're going to initial whoever's collecting it. So if Ms. Kim, I'm part of your third party, you give me your application, I'm going to put CF, and then I collected it, 7/8. So then there's record that I signed it on 7/8, you collected it on 7/8, and then we'll go into here very momentarily your time frame to get it to us. Is there any questions at the moment?
I had one, Sierra. Go up to line 4. I was a little confused about, I think you said a driver's license and the last 4 digits of your social security, but under that last 4 digits, it said if no Florida DL. Is it an either or?
Yeah, it's an either or. So it's a date of birth and a Florida driver's license, or date of birth and last 4 of social.
Okay, thank you.
Some people fill all boxes in. That's completely fine too, however they want to do it. And if they don't have a Florida driver's license or social, they're going to check this. And then we'll do the investigation from there and let them know what they're going to need to fulfill the duties or the needs of the Florida voter registration application.
Any other questions? There was a question about, I think in the chat that Judy answered about whether or not there was a separate application to pre-register teens before they turn 18. It's the same application, or do you?
It's the same form.
Okay.
It is the same form. Sorry, I had to add my little chat so I could see those. Any other questions? Okay, so I'm going to exit out of this and we're going to go back to the ruling. So you guys have 10 days from the date the voter signs the application to get it to our office. Now, if the 10th day falls on a weekend, holiday, or other day on which the Division of Supervisor of Elections office is closed, it must be delivered or postmarked, depending if you guys want to mail it to us or if the voter wants to mail it to us by the following business day. If we do not receive it within 10 days, that's how you do accrue fines. So the fines can get very hefty. So if an application is delivered or postmarked more than the 10 days from the date it was collected, it's $50 per day, per application per day, up to 2,500. Yes, they can get very hefty. And I stress this so much because that is a lot of money that you can avoid having to spend, because the state will absolutely call you to collect, because we have to. Our duty as the supervisor of elections is we check everything. We check every third party application that comes through. The second Miss Brenda and I receive it, and we have to do a non-compliance report that gets sent to the Division of Elections. We have not had to do any this year. I hope it remains that way. And then when the upcoming book closing deadline comes, so July 22nd, if you get it within that 10 days, so let's say somebody gives you something on July 21st, you have 1 day to get it to us. You do not have that 10-day mark anymore. So that's something else to really think about if you guys are going to go out and, really push for that book closing deadline, because your fines go from $50 to $100 per application that is turned in after the book closing deadline.
Make it as hard as possible.
And then if an application is never submitted to us and somebody calls us, we have to submit a report to the state, and then they will do their due diligence from there on. So I can't help you there, but that can go up to $500 per application that's not submitted to us. This goes back to when I was stating, I highly recommend you have blank applications that do not have your third party number on there, because if you give an application out and somebody takes it with your third party and then they fill it out and then it's submitted, 3 weeks later, it's non-compliant.
Sierra?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, this is Juanita. How is it determined if there are allegations that we have an application but fail to submit it? If we have the application in hand with our number on it, how would you go about proving that?
Wait, say that one more time. I'm so sorry.
How would you go about investigating and proving that a person, if a person states that we have collected their application, their voter registration, and failed to submit it?
So there's a receipt that you are required to give to voters when they submit a application. We do not do any of the investigating. That goes directly to the state. So the state level investigates. I can't answer to how they investigate. Like I said, once we do the 10 days and everything like that, or anything that looks fraudulent, it gets sent to the state and then they do their investigation.
So it's out of your hands?
Yeah, we don't do anything in regards to the investigating.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other
Sarah,
questions?
in terms of the 10 days to get it to the supervisor of elections office, so if JaxNOW has
Excuse me.
that's distracting me, so I can't concentrate.
Can you mute everybody?
Somebody needs to mute.
Whoever the host is can mute everybody. Why don't you mute everybody?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so thank you. I think that was Carol that figured that out before I could. Okay, so since JaxNOW has the third-party voter, and ours seems to cover Northeast Florida, do we have 10 days to get, wait, that isn't even my question. Can we drop our voter registration forms off? Like, could we drop them all to the Duval County office? And then if they need to go to Clay, no, we need to take them or get them to the
Yep,
appropriate.
you need to take them to
county.
the appropriate supervisor of elections office.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Any other questions at the moment? Okay. So when you guys are collecting voter registration applications, you must provide a receipt to the voter. This is you can make copies of this however you want to do it. So if I'm giving you an application, this is what the registration application receipt looks like. This is provided to the voter. So you're going to put the applicant's name. So Cierra Fackler, if I decided to put a party affiliation, NPA, I live in Duval County, date the application was collected. So I gave it to you guys on 7/8. Your third party ID, and then the registration agent or the person who collected the application. So if Ms. Kim collected it, she'll need to put Kim Elmore, and then you're going to give that to me. You can make a copy for your records of that. That's going to be preference to you guys as an organization. But this is really what the state has put in place to give the voter that opportunity to, if they don't get a voter card, or if, they call and say, I gave my application to this third party, this is the person they collected, that's when they can start going to the state, and the state can then start reviewing that information and doing their investigation. So this must be provided to every voter that you collect an application from. This is very new. This, like I said, had just gone into effect September. So we do not get these. You don't have to provide them to us. We don't want them. This is for your organization to give to the voter. And then if you want to keep it for your records, like a log book, since you are not allowed to keep, the application itself, this will give you like a peace of mind to say, oh no, we did give this. If you want to say, we dropped this off at the Supervisor of Elections on 2023, that preference to you guys as an organization. But this, there's 2 on each sheet. So when you guys go to print these, just half them. And then make sure that DSDE9 as well as the rule are not cut off when you're providing that to the voter. Any questions in regards to the voter registration receipt?
Yes, Sierra, this is Nancy Stotts. If we submit a registration that is rejected for any reason, for example, maybe the applicant didn't realize that he had or she had some outstanding fines or fees, for example, or some other reason that their application would be rejected, how does that work? Because they're not going to get their voter reg card, and they're not going to see that they're registered online, but yet we have given you that application.
So that's when we'll mail things out to the voter to let them know what is wrong with their application. So if they're missing a driver's license and that incompletes and they don't have a social, we will mail a packet out to them saying we've received an application. Your application is currently incomplete. We need the following documents to complete your application.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions? Okay. All right.
Pretty onerous.
Yeah. Well, you're not muted.
All right. So now we're kind of finalizing a little bit here. An application is considered delivered on the date of the application. It's on the date it's received by us. So if somebody mails something to us, we go by the postmark date. So if, let's say, somebody got a hold of your third party, they signed it, and then they mailed it that same day, we go based off the postmark date. So it's not the date that that's received at that point. Now, when you guys come in in hand. I don't know if you'll have somebody designated for that. You get a receipt from us stating, we'll have your third party number. We'll have it stamped with the date. We'll say we've received 340 applications from you guys. We gave you 100, however many that works out. And then you'll have a copy of that. And then when we're going through, if we see somebody was out of the 10-day mark, we'll put that you had 1 or 2 non-compliant. But like I said, we haven't really seen any. Most third parties are really good about getting them to us pretty quick. And then this rule is available on the Division of Elections website, so you're always welcome to pull this. I'll put that information on there as well. This is going to be the Division of Elections homepage right here. You can click the third party voter registration organization tab. This has got pretty much any question you ask me, it's going to come from here. This is put out by the Division of Elections themselves. You can go and look up yourself as a third party database. What is your number? Do you guys know off the top of your head? Or I can just go JaxNOW. Does anybody know it?
Looking.
That's fine. I can go. All right, here we go. I think it's this one. Okay, so you guys are third party 23-26. Does that sound right to you guys?
I couldn't even begin to guess, but if
Yes.
the
Oh,
first
that's okay.
two, if the
So-
first 2 numbers are the year, oh yeah, there's us.
Okay, so perfect. So you guys are servicing Clay, Duval, Nassau, and St. John's. It talks about who your president is, all that good information. This is public record. So if somebody wants to email you, that's how it'll work. When you get your applications, they're going to have the number 23-26 on it. But that's how you'll find that information out. This is where the ruling is for the third party, as well as Florida statutes in regards to this as well. Let's see here. This talks about what are the duties of the third party organization. The penalties. So if you ever need the refresher on that, the most you guys can get is $250,000 a year in fines. If you need to update or do anything in regards to your third party, it goes to the Division of Elections website. It does not go to our office. If you know of anybody another third party that's doing something incorrect, you're always welcome to file a complaint against them. And the Division of Elections will be able to take over that. If you don't want to come to our office to collect applications, like I said, you can go through the Division of Elections. They do the $9,999 for free. And then after that, I think it's $0.01 per application. If you have any questions in regards to more about third parties that I might not be able to answer, the Division of Elections, they're wonderful. They know the ins and outs about third parties, so they're always welcome to answer you if I'm not available, or if you're like, I don't want to talk to Sierra, we want to talk to the state. Their contact information is right there on their website. It also has all the third party resources, again, that ruling. If you need to get third party registration forms quickly, like it's a Saturday and you guys just book something on Sunday and you're like, we need applications, you can go to this website and pull up the form and fill it out yourself and just print them just as a backup. And then the registration application receipt. Any questions at the moment?
Questions for Sierra? Sierra, this does seem almost overwhelming for those of us who have done it for a while, but you did mention, kind of before we went live with the webinar, that in fact, we have a number of active groups that are complying with this and actually successfully submitting voter registrations. From your experience in the Supervisor of Elections office, what are the most common problems that the third party voter registration organizations are having right now. Do you have anything we should be particularly
Yes.
watching out for?
Please make sure it's legible. If you cannot read it, we will not be able to read it. We will do our absolute best to put it in, but if it's not legible, it'll be extremely difficult for us to go about it. That's one thing we've noticed is we just get a lot of just people write really quick, which is fine, but I would just tell people, you know, just fill this out like you would be filling out any other regular document, you know, try to be as legible as possible. Other than that, a lot of mistakes. So a lot of people are filling them out completely, we've noticed as well. And then we'll just, of course, mail them stating, you know, your driver's license, your social, we're missing that document information. But other than that, we haven't really noticed a ton of other crazy things for you guys to be looking out for. I did want to say,
I was thinking in terms too of compliance issues by the organizations themselves. You know, I mean, of course, you know, voters can be a challenge with their handwriting, but are you noticing, is there some provisions of these new regulations that are tripping up third-party voter registration organizations?
No, I think the receipt at first was kind of a hurdle. A lot of third parties really had to kind of grasp that that was not something that we were telling them. That's something that the state has enforced. But really, we haven't seen a lot of non-compliance. We haven't seen really anything crazy. I feel like in the previous years, there were a lot more non-compliant reports. But we have not had to submit one since I've been here. So I don't think the rules are tripping anybody up. I think if you guys pay attention and just really make sure you guys have your ducks in a row and giving these voter applications to voters and collecting them, that you're getting them back within the 10 days. I feel like that's probably the easiest way for you guys to incur fines. But as long as you guys are staying on top of it, I don't see any red flags or anything like that really coming through our doors.
So we had a question in the chat, if you could go over again about where you actually get the forms and
absolutely.
Also the receipts.
So when you're on the Division of Elections website, so if you click the third-party voter registration organization section, if you just go all the way down to the bottom under resources, if you click open link on new tab, this will take you directly to the forms. And then you'll have to, of course, toggle between which one you're going to need. So you guys are really going to need 129 and then I think it's 40. All right, and 39. So this is going to be the Florida voter registration application. They have them both in English and Spanish available for you. So you guys can just open it, and then if you have like Adobe or anything like that, you can just input, or if you want to just handwrite it temporarily until you can get them printed from us or from the state, that's preference to you. And then 130 or 129, there's the voter registration application receipt. So then you can just print this off and make as many copies as you guys need.
And did I understand correctly that we can ask you for copies or the state from copies? They will actually give you almost 10,000 copies. How do we request those if we don't have the resources to print them off?
So we do not give out, I'm going to be honest, our office, it will give you guys maybe like 200 to start with. And then once you start bringing them in, we'll be able to provide you more. The state can provide you up to 9,999. So on that page, how may a third party obtain blank registration applications? You'll just contact the Division of Elections. You can email them and just say, this is our voter number. We want XYZ amount. I don't know how fast they'll ship them to you guys, but that is available to you. So this section right here. But you guys, like I said, if you want us to print you out some, that's not a problem. We'd be more than happy to do that.
Okay. And I came in a little late. Is it, you mentioned that we could write in the number, but is it required ultimately that we be working with pre-printed numbers, or is that just up to us?
That's going to be preference to you. If you guys want to handwrite it, that's not a problem.
Okay.
Now me, I'm more of like the cleaner look, so I like the printed look. But like I said, if you guys are in a pinch and you don't have any printed, you're always welcome to just write it in and make copies, or however you guys want to proceed with that.
Okay, I have one other question that sort of hooks to the legibility question. I've been struck the last few times we were particularly registering younger voters that signatures are unbelievably terrible and appear to be getting worse. Given how important they are for proving who the voter is there any long-range plan about using anything else? Because some of these just straight lines that I've seen and turned in on forms are alarming to me as a personal signature. But in many cases where I've actually asked them to do it over again, that's what you get.
So that's going to be really nothing that we can do about that. Some people will do a smiley face as their signature, and that's their signature. So that's if that's their signature, that's how they sign things. There's nothing that you guys can say. If they want to do a line, that's their signature.
And that's okay with you guys.
Yep. If they can do the same thing at the polls and it matches, then that's what we have to do. We do push a lot of signature updates because you do get a lot of elderly who may have health problems and aren't able to write as clear. They have the ability to do an X.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Sierra, we had another question about the receipt, since that's the new part of this whole thing. It might be worth going over it again. The question was from Joy asking, how long do we need to keep the receipt?
So you guys, oh, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I finished. I'm so sorry. I thought you were finished.
No, that's the question, because
okay. So you guys are not required to keep the receipt on hand. It's for the voter. The third party, you can keep that though for your records, and that's going to be decisional, up to you if that's something you want to do. How long you want to keep it, 1 year, 2 year, 2 months, just to make sure they get registered, that's preference to you. But you are not required to keep the receipt. It goes to the voter. Now you can make a copy, and like I said, you can, if that's something your organization wants to fulfill and keep that for your records, that's completely fine, but there's no statutory time frame that you would need to keep that.
Lyric, do you want to unmute and ask your question? You have your hand up.
Yes, if you don't mind. First of all, thank you guys for taking the time to hold this webinar. It's been really informative. But my question is, so I'm an out-of-state college student who is looking to do some stuff with voter registration on my college campus. But given that I am an out-of-state student, the vast majority of the students at my college are not Florida are not residents of Florida. So how would this process differ? Like, are a lot of the rules the same nationally, or are they like hyper specific based on the state?
Every state is different. Every state has different legislative ruling. Every state does elections differently. So you would have to reach out to the state that you're going to school in and discuss with them what they would require you to do as a third party. Like, I don't know if you could even give out blank applications. Every state is completely different.
Yeah. As an alternative, would I be able to, I know that there is a way to register to vote online. Do I have to be a registered third party in order to help people register online according to their own state?
You would not need to do that, because if you're just telling them like, hey, I recommend you go to North Carolina vote.gov, that will, and you're just telling them I recommend you vote, you're not collecting anything from them. But then again, like I said, every state is different, so I would highly recommend checking out the rules on that, or contacting the state elections office to make sure that's something you can do. But like here, you absolutely can go to people and just be like, hey, are you guys registered to vote? And if you're not acting as part of your third party, you could be like, you should register to vote. You can go on this website. You know, we have blank applications for you if you want to go home, fill it out at your own time and submit it. You know, we really want you to vote in the upcoming election. Your voice matters. You know, that's completely fine.
Okay, thank you.
It might be worth going over what options are available to students who are going to college here, because they can declare a Florida residency. They just can't vote in their home state and here. Isn't that correct?
Say that one more time.
What options do students who are going to college in Florida have to register to vote? Can they declare a Florida residency in lieu of voting in their home state, the state where
Yeah,
they're
typically
coming?
they can do vote by mail. That's not a problem. If they have a different mailing address that's out of the state. So that's just like if you guys know, you know, you're going to go visit your loved one for 2 months to go help them with something, and you know it's during an election time, they would just update their mailing address to be whatever's there.
Okay, maybe I didn't ask that question clearly, but if I was a college student, like from New York, but I'm going to JU, and I decide that I want to vote in Florida, I can register to vote and declare my residency here, can't I? As long as I don't register to vote or try to vote again in New York. Is that true or false?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Lyric, did you understand that?
I do. But there's also I don't go to school in Florida.
Okay.
Legally I'm a Florida resident, but I don't go to school in Florida. And also there's a bunch of considerations to do with people's individual insurance. For example, my legal state of resident is still Florida, despite not living in Florida for 4 years now, because I am required to be in order to stay on my parents' health insurance. So there's declaring a legal state of residency is a whole separate.
Yeah, so there's a
At
lot
least
of
to my
other things to
understanding.
consider. Okay, I appreciate that.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you, Sierra, too, for clarifying. Any other questions? Again, Sierra, did you drop your contact information in the thing? Not to inundate you with questions, but Sierra is probably the most responsive person in the Supervisors of Elections office, although some people have Jerry Holland's cell phone number, so one of the most responsive. But we appreciate you coming with us, appearing before us and sharing all this information, and hopefully that has clarified some of the questions that we have. But again, as Sierra said, there are organizations that are successfully, even though they're a little onerous, living by these rules and registering voters. So we just need to figure out a way to do what we need to do legally and not let it be a chill factor. Before we go, I have one announcement, and then I'm going to let Kim close us out. If I can share my screen. Which is Jacksonville now is involved in a project with Florida Now, which has received some funding to do some postcarding to voters who had their petitions rejected because of bad signatures or some other issues, and were never able to correct them. So we want to make sure that they're aware that there could be issues with either their signature or information that's on file with the Supervisor of Elections office. So we're going to be supporting the Florida Now effort to do this postcarding July 14th through the 27th. It's around the Yes on 4 amendment, abortion amendment, Super Saturday Day of Action. So we're giving it a wide berth around there. But we would encourage you to check out the Jacksonville Now website under events. We have 5 and probably will have more sites around the city during that time. If you want to get involved in this project, to sign up for. So it's not going to be in a central location. They'll be scattered throughout the city during that time period, and lend a hand in getting this information out to people who might be having an issue with their voter status. Kim, do you want to close us out?
Sure. I'll just add to what Carol just said. We've got some great locations. We talked to Angie Nixon today. So we're gonna actually have one event at her new bookstore, which I've been wanting to go to. So this is going to be the perfect reason for me to leave St. Augustine and go shopping. And then we're gonna do one down here in St. Augustine, one at the beaches, one over towards Riverside. So we really are going to be all around, and we're going to provide everything: stamps, postcards, address labels, snacks, and companionship. And so it'll be a good opportunity to kind of get out the vote, making sure people are voting that maybe thought they were gonna, they're ready to go vote, but they're not, like Carol said, for one reason or another. And then also I'll just add, our monthly meeting will be this Wednesday. We meet the second Wednesday of every month, and we're meeting this Wednesday at Havana Jack's over there. I don't even know what to call that side of town, like right by the river, by downtown, kind of off Atlantic. Again, it's all Jacksonville to me because I'm way down
Some
here.
people
in St.
call it
Augustine.
St. Nicholas, Kim.
St. Nicholas?
Yes.
Yeah, St. Nicholas, yeah.
Never heard of such thing. So thank you, Juanita. We've been there before. We love it. They're super nice to us. We'll talk more about this postcarding and other things we have going on this summer, along with our collaborators, whether it's BAM, whether it's Women's March, whether it's DWIN. I hope to see some of you all Friday at the Take 'em Down Jax events. And I'll just ask Sierra or Rebecca if they want to have the last word.
I just want to say thanks for letting me come and speak to you guys. If you have any other questions or anything like that, please feel free to email me. But other than that, it was a pleasure, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Sierra.
Yes, of course. I'm going to go ahead and get off now, so enjoy your meeting.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Thanks for
Okay,
coming.
thank you. Confusingly, we have a second Sierra from the Women's March. So I think that's where some of this was.
But thank you guys for coming. I'm personally going to try to get to some of the postcard events. So if you can, I definitely encourage you for that. And then we meet as the petition signer group from the summit tomorrow. And so we'll probably have some more events that we will be sharing out as we continue to plan.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you again, everybody. Like we said earlier, we have recorded this. If you want to share it with your contacts and other people that are interested in doing voter reg, we'll have it up on YouTube as soon as I figure out how to download it off my laptop and get it over to Carol, and we'll let you know. We have everybody's contact information, so we'll let you know when it's ready.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you all.
everyone.
Thanks.
Nice to
See you
see you, and I'll probably see
Wednesday.
most of you this week.
Yes.
See you later.